power isn't inherently evil. It's not inherently good either. It's how you use it. And my idea in the 48 Laws of Power, my version of morality was, here's this knowledge that's kind of kept as a secret about how to succeed in this world. It's something that elites and people in power have known, but have never wanted to share. And it irritated and frustrated me that these kind of laws that I observed in Hollywood, for instance, it was like we were living in this fairy tale. Like people would pretend that this Hollywood director producer was all about doing great things, good things, noble things, liberal values, whereas in truth they were power hungry and they would do maneuvers that were extremely bad or even downright evil.
Power is a curious thing, my lord. Are you fond of riddles?
Why? Am I about to hear one?
3 great men sit in a room, a king, a priest, and a rich man. Between them stands a common sellsword. Each great man bids the sellsword kill the other 2. Who lives, who dies?
Depends on the sellsword.
Does it? He has neither crown nor gold, nor favor with the gods.
He has a sword, the power of life and death.
But if it's swordsmen who rule, why do we pretend kings hold all the power? When Ned Stark lost his head, who was truly responsible? Joffrey, the executioner, or something else?
I've decided I don't like riddles.
Power resides where men believe it resides. It's a trick, a shadow on the wall. And a very small man can cast a very large shadow.
Interaction with boldness. So most people are just too timid in life. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of making mistakes. I never try anything. I never have to put up with criticism. Never have to put up with people scrutinizing me. So most people end up being too shy, too timid in life. And you've got to get over that. And you've got to learn how to be bold with your ideas and with your actions. So I try to make each one of my books kind of a statement and impress people with like a strong idea and not be afraid of criticism and not being afraid of controversy. So boldness has gotten me through life, and I think it's critically important in this day and age.
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Never.
You are responsible for the things that happen in your life. You're the agent of what is good and what is bad. And when something bad happens to you, your natural tendency will be to look out in the world and blame this person, blame your mother, your father, your wife, your boss. But in fact, there's always a kernel of yourself that is to blame for what happened. And so the process that's involved that I talk about in the book is you look at yourself and you examine how perhaps something you did, something you said, something in your planning was wrong, and that was what caused this problem. And that should be a liberating thing, because what that means is you have power. You're not dependent on mommy or daddy or boss or whomever to please you, to bring you what you want. You are the one responsible for it.
In Renaissance Italy, they had these men called condottieres, who were kind of like paid mercenary soldiers. And this one condottiere led this campaign for the city of Siena or Florence or something. And he was so successful, he was brilliant, he totally saved the city. And then he said, okay, I saved your life, Siena. Now I want to be made the general of all of your armies and to have an even more important position. The town council went in and they debated it and they said, look, let's kill him, we'll assassinate him, and then we'll make him a saint. And then that's what they end up doing, they kill him. And the lesson of it was, if you're not necessary, if people don't need you, if they can replace you with somebody else, which is what they did, they're just going to end up killing you or beheading you or firing you. So be aware that you're easily replaced in this world, that you're not as important as you think you are unless you create a position that getting rid of you is so much trouble. And so this condottiere was easily replaceable by another, but he didn't realize that it had gone to his head.
What's your name? Heisenberg. You got one part of that wrong. This is not meth.
That feeling of having no control and how miserable it is. Related to that is the feeling that I'm trapped in this role in life that is not of my own choosing. People see me as a writer, a secretary, or whatever, and it's not what I want to be. And that's how everybody judges me, and you feel trapped and you have no power or control. The opposite of that is this feeling that you can be whatever you want. You can recreate yourself. You can suddenly have a different persona. You can change your personality.
By the way, one of the actual other laws is you can act like the king already. So in a sense, I found those two working together. You can recreate yourself, and the other law was be royal already. So
Right.
maybe that's what you need to recreate yourself into.
Completely. You know, the power game is all about psychology. It's not about money. It's not about who you can push around. It's all about psychology. And it begins in how you think of yourself.
I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool. Dancing on the string held by all those big shots.
You have a business and you're looking for a partner, right? Or you're looking to hire someone. Your first instinct is, I want to hire a friend. I want to hire that person who's likable, who likes me, who I've had a relationship with. That's a terrible mistake. You want to hire the best person for the job. Friends have all kinds of emotional entanglements that'll come out in the course of the relationship, of the business. They'll feel envy. They'll sabotage you. It's a nightmare, and there's a huge history behind it. That's what that law's about. It's not about not having friends. How stupid would I be to say that? Friends are an incredibly important role.
Get up. Get out in the real world. And you kick that bastard as hard as you can, right in the teeth.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Never tell anybody outside the family what you're thinking again.
You can't just say whatever is on your mind. You can't just think that being who you are and being natural and being, your normal self is going to get you very far. You have to be careful in this world. I'm not telling you to be paranoid. I'm just telling you to be self-aware that the people around you have egos, that people are judging you based on what you say, about how you dress, about your style, about how you look, about the friends you associate with. You may not like it, but it's the reality. You have to understand some of these basic principles so that you don't go around making these painful mistakes. So law number one, never outshine the master. The idea is very simple. Your boss who you work for, and wherever you are, you're going to have a boss, even if it's only a company of 2 people. That person has an ego, has insecurities. And if you try too hard to impress him or her, if you show off too much, that probably are going to inadvertently trigger their insecurities. And they're going to do weird things to you. They're not going to say, you made me feel insecure. You made me think that maybe you're after my job. Instead, they're going to fire you, or they're going to put you in a bad position. They're never going to tell you what exactly the reality is.
Vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Exploit vulnerabilities in the human mind. And one of them is that you talk and think faster than most people. So most people, when you're talking, they don't have it like right you just did right there. Like you wanted
Because
to
I had a
interject, but you get a chance to interject
because I
I'm
had
not
a
going to
thought.
let you because I'm going to keep talking. And as I keep talking, I talk quicker. You get bewildered. That's one of the things that you do to people, whether you realize it or not. You do it because you've done it that way for a long time.
That's probably
and
right.
It's become a pattern.
Yeah.
It's become a pattern to make the other person feel insecure so you don't.
And get others to do the work, but always take the credit. That, I agree, is a nasty law. I don't deny it. But I explain very clearly in the course of that law that you look at it from the reverse side. That while you're happily working on your screenplay or on your startup, there are vultures circling around you right at that moment who are ready to pounce and steal your idea and take it from you and take credit for it. Be aware. Even of those manipulative laws that people think are so evil, there's a flip side to them. They're opening your eyes to the dark side of power. Because I came from the book from the side of the innocent. I never had power. So I'm writing it from that point of view. Because that happened to me. People took my ideas in Hollywood. They stole them. They put their name on it. The power is guard your reputation with your life. It's like your treasure. It's how people perceive you. And if your reputation kind of precedes you, and it can make people even afraid of you before they meet you. In the ancient China, in like the 1st century AD or so, there was this great Chinese general called Zhuge Liang. It's narrated in this book called The Romance of Three Kingdoms. And he was so clever. He was by far the most clever general that ever lived, that armies were already kind of worried before they went into battle with him, knowing that he would have some trick up his sleeve. They were certain that he was going to do something that they never thought of before. So at one point, Zhuge Liang is in a castle, and all his men have deserted him for whatever reason, and he only has like 50 men left in the castle, and he hears that an army of 20,000 soldiers is advancing, and he says, it's over, my career's over, they're going to wipe us out and kill us. So what does he do? He sat himself up on the wall of the castle with like a harp or a lute in his hand, and he just sat there strumming it and humming like a prayer and kind of singing. And the enemy army approaches, they see Zhuge Liang on the top there. He's got some trick up his sleeve. He's luring us into the castle where he must have 50,000 men that are ready to ambush and counterattack us. He wouldn't be sitting on that citadel like that unless he was trying to trick us in some way. And so they end up retreating. So a man with 50 men defeated an army of 20,000 men just through this psychological warfare and just through this reputation that he had of being so incredibly brilliant. And I think a great coach like a Bill Belichick kind of has that sort of spirit as well. Worthy of something great, that you were destined to create something great when you were born, it translates into other people feeling that off of you. I have a law in 48 Laws of Power called act like a king to be treated like one. Someone like Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is a guy who has an incredible sense of belief in himself. He believes that he can get anything that he puts his mind to, he'll be successful with. And I talk in there in my talk about Tesla Motors and how it really looked like he was going to fail miserably, right? And people were telling me it was going to be a disaster. But the fact that he believed in it so much and he had this incredible charisma meant that other people believed in him and started buying his stock. And the price of the stock was way overvalued, but it doesn't matter. He raised enough money to make the company solvent and make it profitable. So his self-belief translated into other people believing in him, which translated into money, which translated into the success he's having.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen, everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will also exist. The selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates wars, and hatred is born in order to protect love. There are nexuses, causal relationships that cannot be separated.
I think the most important, basically make people dependent on you. So you don't want to appeal to people's love, to the fact that they like you. You want to appeal to the fact that they need you. Because if they love you, love is a very tenuous emotion. In fact, it doesn't work very well in the work situation. It causes all kinds of problems. They'll get rid of you tomorrow, even though they like you. But if they need you, it's like pulling out all of these roots of a plant to get rid of you. It's going to cause all kinds of damage all over the place. They need you and they can't get rid of you. So you need to make sure that your position in a company, in life in general, you're the only person who can do that.
Guard your reputation. Your appearance and the qualities associated with you are integral to your reputation. Craft a memorable trait to be recognized for, creating an aura of power. A strong reputation can precede your actions and impact outcomes. Protect your reputation from attacks, but avoid being defensive. And note attacking others' reputations can benefit you, especially against more powerful opponents. Subtly undermine opponents with ridicule. The story of General Liang illustrates reputation's power. When lacking reputation, tarnish opponents' reputations to establish your own.